So you're at the pub with your mates, and my chat room's just the big table, and you're all just drinking different schooners. Everyone's just talking crap, and but instead of on the big screen, it's the EPL game. It's my stream.
So hello everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of Guide the Raid, the brand new podcast looking at bringing you closer to your favourite content creators from both Twitch and YouTube. I'd like to start off by welcoming my lovely co-host, Matt, EnvyTheKiwi. Matt, how have we been?
Yeah, I'm well, Stu. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, bro, I'm good. What have you been up to?
Apart from, well, just the same really, gym, stream, work, same old, bro.
Same old, same old. I can see you rocking the Lucky 7 t-shirt there.
Oh yes.
Talk to me about that, because I know that's
there.
one of your proudest possessions.
Yeah, what would you like to know?
What is Lucky 7s for those who don't know?
Well, it's Lucky Sevens. Well, it's literally all, because this shirt specifically is about Lucky Sevens, so it's just all sevens there, right? But this is part of Team 7's merch. This was a limited edition t-shirt, so if you want one, unfortunately they are all sold out. They may bring them back in. Yeah, no, I didn't. But they may bring them back out, but don't you worry, because there is more merch coming from the Team 7. So that Team 7 cross champion hoodie's on the way. Oh, that's going to be nice.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, man, it's going to be sick.
Amazing.
Who are we rating today, Stu?
So today we've got a very, very special guest. I'm really excited about this one. It's a guy by the name of BlameHud. Some of you will be familiar with him. He started in May last year and has recently hit 1.1k followers. He's really, really big coming out of OCE. Another one of the OCE boys, as per. That's all we like on this podcast. So just really interesting. I think he's a really interesting character, and I think he's going to have some interesting things to talk about. So really looking forward to it. So Hud, welcome.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me, both of you.
How are you feeling? Nervous? Any worries?
Just super excited. I like both of you guys, and I like this platform. It's going to do big things, so I'm excited to be another guest on here. And if I can perform well enough, I want to get another invite and just be part of it for life, a life member.
Yeah, well, we'll be the judge of that. I wanna just dive straight in, pretty much where we did with Matt's podcast, and just talk about streaming. I think that's why most people will be here. So, talk to me about streaming. How did you get into it? Where did it all begin?
Basically began when I was trying to get really good at a video game called Destiny, and eventually got pretty good at it, I think. And a couple of my close friends were like, "You need to start streaming this," because it was a game that was, despite it being like dead in the general view of the world, it was actually really alive on Twitch because of the nature of the competitive scene of the game. People would watch streamers because they would get to play with them to win this really challenging, like the pinnacle PvP mode. And so it was big on Twitch in like relation to how small or dead of a game it was. So that's where I sort of started watching my most of my Twitch, and then realizing I could probably stream it. But in Australia, the internet's so bad that I never really had the outlet, and then finally moved to a place and got a PC during the COVID outbreak, like everyone else in the world apparently. And I had good internet for once and a good PC, and we just started streaming Warzone, which was my game at the time and still is. That's about the long and short of it.
So was there any sort of driving factor behind you streaming other than obviously playing Destiny? Was there anyone who sort of pushed you towards that?
Yeah, definitely like my close gaming friends that, like, if you spend any time in my stream, you'll see like the same names and the same people that like I play with and have the most fun with. They were one of them, Jace specifically. A few others too were pretty encouraging me, like, you got to do it. And I just think the ease of it, you can just press go live, really. You guys both stream, you both know that. Like, it's pretty easy to start. It's about what happens after you go live that ends up dictating how long you do it and how successful you are. But yeah, going live was pretty easy. And then obviously, like, just like you guys know, you have a bit of fun in those first few streams, and it's just, you get bitten by the bug and you just see what happens. So like friends, and just like, you watch Twitch and you always think like, oh, I could do that, because it is straightforward. You're just playing and talking. So I just had the same mindset as everyone. It's sort of the the nature of it's changed as I've gone on, but that was definitely the starting point, was just friends, encouragement, and just the ease of access.
Okay, so Hud, I just wanted to know really where the name BlameHud came from.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting one, actually. So my Instagram handle has gone through a few iterations over the time, because obviously Instagram's been out for like over a decade or whatever. But right now, and as of the last few years, it's been BlameHud. I guess it's a bit of a philosophical thing, because I do still believe in like personal responsibility, and just like, if you're any sort of a black sheep, you sort of like, you get a bit put on you. So for me, it was about like, I'll happily take the blame, and it reads well and it looks good and stuff. So when I started Twitch, my FPS name was always Hudzo, because Hudson, and then like just my dad always call me Hudzo, so it was always Hudzo. So my branding's still Hudzo, but I couldn't get any iterations of Hudzo that looked good on Twitch, so I went with my Instagram handle. So now there's a clash between my name and my branding.
So when you started off in streaming, what were your influences in terms of the people that you were watching? Did you take stuff from those people, or did you have your own sort of mindset towards it?
Wow, that's an awesome question. So I'm still probably, I would say like, not tainted, but I'm still like, sort of marred in the nature of the Destiny streamers, where it was really about like, they were good, and they'd often actually play with someone better, and what they would do would be picking up viewers from the community to play with the three of them in this like PvP, pinnacle PvP called Trials of Osiris. And like, that's still my mindset of like, I'm not the best, but I can stream and play pretty well, whereas some people can't juggle those two things. Like, and then you pick up viewers, and like, I aim to educate. So like, I'm not the best, but at least I'm aware of my, poor plays or my mistakes on stream, and like, that's still something I try and reproduce in my stream whenever I can, and chat about, especially when I'm playing solos, chat about what I did wrong, what I did right, why we won each fight, why we won the game. So there was like some old Destiny streamers like Real Crafty, who now he plays a bit of everything, and I think he's with TSM, or at least he was when I last checked. So he's obviously like succeeded, especially in like, he's gone from like Destiny to like Apex Legends and that sort of thing. And then there was this guy Luminosity, who was like a pure Destiny one. He was like, I was big into watching him. And then obviously like last year when I started, I was watching Warzone, but there was no one that really like struck me as like legitimately like did both things that I wanted to do, which was like be half interactive and half like locked in. Like, some guys can do it, but it's not the way I want to do it. So I'm trying to always carve out like a little bit of a niche for how I do it against my own standards, if that makes sense.
So how do you manage that then? So when you're on stream and you're like locked in, as you say, obviously your concentration is on the game, but at the same time it's interacting with chat. How do you manage that sort of two things going on at once that are obviously quite difficult to do for most people?
Yeah, great question again. It is a challenge, and I can feel myself sometimes like one of them's taking a hit, and obviously I'd rather my gameplay to take a hit than to miss or ignore people. But the cool thing with where my stream's got to now in this point is that people in chat, they kind of know, they can sense whether they've watched me enough or they just know the game. They can sense when it's a time when it's like full on. They'll be like, this is a hectic period. Obviously he's not going to get to my comment that I made in chat. And then when either I die or the game resets or there's a downtime, I'll just quickly scan for I prioritize like people who have just come into the stream, obviously, and then like if there's a direct question at me, because sometimes it's moving really quickly, but it's not something I even have to dip my toe into. Like, I just remember even last night's stream before recording this podcast, guys are talking about some music stuff, and it just wasn't something I had to comment on, and I could just focus. But yeah, you definitely know, depending on your energy, whether you've had a big day at work, how well you can juggle those two things. I love playing solos in Warzone because it's like there's way more downtime for me to like interact with chat around something that just happened. Like someone would be like, "Oh, awesome kill," or "Oh, you missed picking up this amount of ammo or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, bugger!" And then you like have that really fun, like it's nearly like you're nearly playing cooperative, and that's my favorite. But then I juggle that with when I'm playing with my best mates, and it's like super locked in. They're super good. It's super fast. And I know my interaction's suffering. But again, if you've been around my community, they all know like he's with his boys. He's just going to be like playing for his absolute. That's like me playing for my absolute fun. Like that's my priority. And then when I'm playing solos, it's like really interactive, or picking people up to play with them too is like more social. So that's sort of how if that makes sense, that's sort of how I try and juggle it. You're doing better some days than others at it. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge that I enjoy.
But even then, I mean, as a viewer, you wouldn't go to somebody playing Warzone to try and communicate with them, like to have a full-on conversation, because that is one of those kind of games where somebody, whoever's streaming, especially if they're quite decent at the game, they're going to have a larger viewing, right? Like for example, if you've got like 20, 30 viewers for yourself, means you're pretty decent at the game, I'd assume. Or you've just got a super tight community. But even then, you're not going to go to someone's stream and try have a full-on conversation with them while they're playing Warzone. I guess you just pick and choose which games you can, which you can communicate with. For example, like for me, I will most likely end up sacrificing Warzone gameplay to chat with people and then end up just dying and not playing the game properly. So that's where, I don't know, you just got to kind of choose which games. But it's the same if I come to your stream and I can see you're playing, I will happily say hello, whatever it might be. But I know when I can and can't converse in that sense because of how locked in you are.
I take that risk, like where it's like, okay, some people aren't going to enjoy what content I put out because I'm not super interactive. Like I think I do an okay job, like relative to like my gameplay quality. I think there's a good, at least people tell me, like, I don't get a lot of feedback, but some people do like say, oh man, you're super chatty. And I think, well, have you seen Envy? Like he's way chattier. So, but people are impressed with the fact that my gameplay is above average, like not the best again, but like above average, and my interaction is suitable. Like, and I always try and apologize for like, guys, I'm locked in right now. Sorry, chat. Or like, oh, if I missed you, I'm going to get to you in the lobby and yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, just like you said, Matt, like people kind of know what they're coming into. Yeah, I think because I don't view my stream in mod view or anything to like see viewers or anything like that, a view account or names. So I think there's a lot of people that lurk and I just don't even know or pay attention to it. Like I usually stream thinking I've got 8 people watching because they're the ones talking. It could be 30, like you said, could be 20, could be 18. I think there's a lot of people who just lurk and literally do enjoy my just mediocre watching. Gameplay. That's it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that as well, Matt, because it was something that I was thinking about then, that obviously you switched a little bit recently to Warzone away from Cold War, and I know that when you were playing Cold War, it's because it's just so natural that you can interact with chat. Have you felt like there's been a knock-on effect of your interaction?
Oh yeah, 100%, absolutely. In that sense, like, I'm not like HUD. I don't have great Warzone content in terms of gameplays and stuff like that, and just skills with that specific game. Warzone, Battle Royale, stuff like that, I'm not good at. So I tend to try and prioritize everything, end up dying or something. Or when I do get engaged, people talk, and I feel like people are so used to one thing when they come into your chat, and that's, for me, for example, it's interaction. People might come to my stream because they want to interact, and then I play a game like Warzone, and where I don't follow the chat as much because I'm a little bit more focused in game. I feel it does take a little bit of a knock, but I don't know. You just, people like HUD said, people kind of get used to it. People like kind of realize when you're engaged, and they don't necessarily try send a massive message that you're not going to be able to read while you're in game. Most of the time people will say, oh no, I'll just wait till he's dead, or I'll wait till he's finished, or whatever it might be. So you just pick and choose your moments. But yeah, you definitely notice the change in games. Yeah.
So HUD, in terms of gaming then, on your streams, you tend to only play Warzone and Apex, looking at your Twitch sort of feed thing. When you're putting out a stream, is it more about the gameplay for you, or is it more about the viewer interaction?
Yeah, it's probably about the gameplay, but again, like probably what both of you understand, and I know Matt specifically feels this, it's about me having fun. And man, I just love Warzone. I'm good at it, so therefore I like it, if that makes sense. Apex, I'm not even great at. I do like the game, and I used to play heaps before I streamed. I used to play heaps on console back in the day, and yeah. So for me, it's like, am I having fun? Oh, so it's like the list is like, I said the tiers are like, are my friends playing that game? So if they're all playing Warzone, I'm going to play Warzone. Am I good at it and therefore having fun and succeeding? Then I'm going to play that. And then third, it's like, what can I interact with? I love the challenge of trying to play well and stream too. That's just something that I actually do love, the challenge of like going live, playing well, and giving people a good chat experience. And like, I think some of my friends underestimate that challenge when I'm playing with them, and our KDs are the same, and they just get to sit there in their dark bedroom and frag out while I'm doing the same as them. But I'm also, being a hub for my friends and community, like the place they can like turn up to and interact with each other and converse with me. And I'll, downtime between gunfights, we'll talk about fitness or whatever the hell they want to talk about. And yeah, I think that's something that the more I think about it recently, basically knowing I was like coming to chat to you guys is something that struck me as like, wait a minute, like that's one of the key things you enjoy. It's just purely the challenge of like finding it within yourself to like be a good player as well as like an above average streamer, if that makes sense. Like in terms of like, you know, I'm engaging with my people. So yeah.
So for you then, I'm interested to know your thoughts in terms of where you want to take where you are now. So if we look at where you've got to in terms of followers, there's a relative success there. And obviously you've worked really hard at your craft, and anyone who comes into your streams can see that. So what's the aim for HUD in terms of, maybe not in terms of partnership or anything like that, but what's the aim? What do you actually want to do? Do you want to grow on Twitch? Do you want to grow elsewhere? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, it's a good question. Because growth is like very addictive. So you kind of just want to keep like, you know, improving, because growth is like a reflection nearly of your improvements, and like it fluctuates. Some nights you feel like the followers rolling in, like, and then for perfect example, lately this last week, I think I've like literally had like nearly less than 10 followers in 3 streams, which is just like, that makes you think like, what the hell? I get 10 followers a stream. Now I'm getting 10 followers a week, and it's like, am I blacklisted? Like you kind of like can't help avoid the numbers. But to answer your question, for me, I think right now is like pretty much, I just love it. Like, because I've got that, I love when I'm streaming and people come in and they're just all chatting to each other, looking after each other, checking in, talking rubbish if it's you, Stu, and you're creating a bit of drama with a bit of like S-talk in the chat.
Don't know what you mean. Don't know what you mean.
You know what I mean? So I just love like facilitating like the group interactions, and like you know, I think one of my goals is so that to get to a place where people come to my stream, check in on everyone, and then they like tee up games with each other. Yeah, and that means they're not going to watch me, and that's fine, because if they're all like playing with people a little bit better than themselves, or I know some guys, the friends they've made in stream or whatever are better than their friends, and they have a lot of fun playing with more competitive people because they've struggled to make friends that are a little bit more competitive. So as they've improved away from their social group, meeting people in my community has allowed them to meet people who are a little bit more improved than their friends, and then they can have a more successful time in the video game. And like just being that facilitator of all these friendships is like really enjoyable for me, I think. Yeah, obviously, as I said at the start of the answer, I do want to grow, because if I'm not growing, it means I'm not improving, if that makes sense, because I feel like then I'm stagnating, or maybe my product's stagnating or whatever. And it's hard with like Warzone being out for a year now, and it's all I've really played, as we mentioned prior. You know, because I think people are like, they see the go live and like they know exactly what they're going to get, and that's not interesting to them, because they're like, they get the notification, let's say, if they're following me and I have it on, or they see it on, I don't actually post it on Twitter. I don't post anywhere that I'm live, really. It just pings in Discord and that's it. But say they see it and Warzone's not their favorite game, but they might half like me, they're not going to pull it up, because they're like, I know what this guy's doing. He's dropping Super or Hospital if he's playing solos. He's doing this. He's going hard. And yeah, like he's there and he's like active with his community, but they know what they're going to get. Whereas if I was to like go live tonight with World of Warcraft, I bet you'd see 10 new names in there wanting to watch what the hell's going on. And that's fine. But if my friends aren't playing that game, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to like put my stream before like my true real life friends. That's why I play video games, is because my friends do. If everyone quit video games, I wouldn't play. And maybe now with streaming I might, but I would never put it above what my friends do. And they want to play Warzone, man. So we're all busy dudes, and it's a game we're all pretty good at. So it's just it's an easy game to turn on and for us to have fun with.
Who in your group of friends, who's the leader in terms of what you play? So I know you mentioned like everybody's good at Warzone, so we play Warzone. Do you ever feel like, you know what, I want to just crank on some Destiny here and see if the other guys want to jump on that with you? Like, is there any of those types of conversations?
We go back and forth. Hey, like I've got like my two of my really good mates. They actually play League of Legends a lot, and they like can jump on any game and be good. But because I'm maybe a little bit more time poor than them, and probably just less skilled, like they're like just really just great gamers, if you want to say that. I'm probably a little bit more of like that person that says like, I just want to stick to what we're doing good at. I'm probably the driver of that. But like we've all dabbled in other stuff, but I don't think any of us like losing. So, you know, when we play a game, we pretty much go all in. And lately, like you know, because my group of gaming friends probably is larger than 10. Sorry, even if 2 like go off and play League of Legends, there's still 8 that want to play Warzone. And until I think it really takes that next wave of games. So it's not that none of my mates will ever not play like the pinnacle game. So I don't have friends that'll go revert back, let's say, to Destiny 2 until like they won't do that until Destiny 3 comes out. And then we'll drop Warzone and play Destiny 3 for like probably 6 months, maybe plus, because it's the new game. And I just think because like, you know, because I'm older and my mates are older, we're all in the same boat where it takes like the premier game to pull us aside. So they all played Cold War when it released because it was like the premier game. But I played Warzone because that's what I knew that I was. When I play multiplayer, I can't even do what Matt does, where I can't even interact. 'Cause I'm so locked in because there's more fights. Whereas solos in Warzone is my most interactive I can be while still enjoying myself and succeeding. So I chose to play a lot of solos while everyone was off playing Cold War. 2 weeks later, apparently the game died. You know, in their mind, they came back to Warzone and we're back on. So, but yeah, it's a really interesting question. I think we have like it's like a hive mind. No one says what we're going to do. It's just pretty much known that like Warzone's that hub. We all dabbled in Apex last week. We got owned, and now no one's really talking about Apex. So that's sort of how it goes, I think.
So you mentioned earlier about the product. So if we can talk a little bit more about that, how do you craft that? How do you is it something that you do like in terms of training for your games and everything like that? I suppose the way I asked it to Matt was, if you look back to when you started in May and you did that first stream, how have you got to where you are in terms of your product?
Yeah, awesome question, Stu, and you've worded it really interesting too, using the word craft. I think it is a craft. If I look back at my original product, I'm not ashamed, but it's just hilarious. You're like, what the hell? Because like you learn, but I think it's 2-pronged, right? The first one is your stream quality. So like camera, decent lighting, awesome audio. That's just your priority. And a part of audio, I think people mistake. So any like streamers up and coming or even bigger than me, but maybe can want to like review their stream, audio mix is just as important as quality. A lot of people might have a good mic, but they don't have the right mix with their voice above the game, if that makes sense. You want the game here and you want your voice above. So decent cam, decent lighting, or just decent atmospheric backdrop, whatever you want to do. Like Matt's got a good one, I've got my own one, everything else. So that's your product from a stream perspective. Then the other prong is like what you're doing. Are you interacting like openly, like clearly, like Matt? Are you like getting to nearly every, like Matt rarely misses a chat. I miss a couple of chats because I've got to be a little bit more selective. But then I think my gameplay is like, you know, not more interesting than Matt's, but it's different. And so people come for like that learning experience or just like the enjoyment. Because I actually do think not being the best is sort of interesting to people. When you're kind of like in my above average realm, I think that's actually kind of interesting because you're like, can he do it? There's that like gambling sense. Whereas like when you watch a pro, you're kind of like, well, he's going to win. It's just a matter of how quickly. With me, like I know I might lose 10 solos, but when I win, everyone goes mental. And I go mental because it's so rewarding to get that win, you know? And it's not the world-class gameplay, but it's achievable for them to like imagine themselves doing it because they know they're only like, you know, maybe 3 months or 6 months of grinding off being as good as me, if that makes sense, if they like do the right things. So that's, I think, the other side of the product is like, is your gameplay good or interesting, or are you at least talking about your gameplay that is relevant, or are you interacting with your stream? That's the other side of it, as I mentioned. So it's stream stuff and then it's game stuff, and you've got to like work on them both. So
a question to both of you really that I want to sort of wrap up the streaming section with. Let's talk a little bit about Twitch as an organization, as a website that we all use. What's your sort of viewpoint on Twitch and where we are with things? If we start with HUD.
It's an amazing platform for making friends, how easy it is to like, they've set it up for you to like be able to broadcast gameplay and like the way it all interacts. So like obviously fundamentally it's great. And we wouldn't be here having fun and using our creative expression in all these awesome ways. I just think my main beef with it at the moment is just like their greed. So a lot of people understand that when you want to watch a stream, if you're not subbed, you basically have to watch an ad for 30 seconds. And like, how do you discover someone new if you know you've got to sit through 30 seconds of ads to just see if you even want to watch them? Does that make sense? Like, you've got to watch this ad to even know if you want to watch them. And that just means like when you pull up Twitch, and I don't get to do this often, sadly, but when I pull up Twitch on like the weekend, if I'm working on some graphic design stuff and I want to like lurk a few people or do a bit of research on my other monitor while I'm doing something on my main monitor, I just clicked Matt and just exclamation mark look, because I know I'm not going to get an ad, and I just know what I'm going to get with Matt, and I want to support him. Whereas imagine if I didn't have to watch ads, I could like literally load up 7 tabs, watch each person for 15 seconds, get a vibe, close the ones I'm not interested in, and move on and like discover someone new that I can raid later that night. But because the ads being absolutely jammed down your throat, it's like just mean and greedy. And then the streamer for all these ads people have to watch gets like 0.01 cents, even though they're the one with the platform, like doing the hard work to set it all up, buying gear, having an internet bill, having a power bill, all this stuff. Then the second part is like the subbing. Like I don't know about America, but I know in Australia, let's say it's $10 to sub, and the streamer gets like $4.50, but they're doing all the hard work, and Twitch just takes more than 50% off the top, or 50% evens, if you want to call it, for what? It just doesn't seem like the relationship between what the streamer does and what Twitch provides is equal. Because if you want to do the ads, that's fine, but then don't take 50% of the sub for affiliates. And something that really hit me that you once said, Stu, was like, people want to do this for a living, and they literally, so many more people could if Twitch weren't that greedy. So it's a bit disheartening, and it's frustrating when the platform is that greedy. That's my take, and I'll hand it over to Matt.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I like Twitch as a whole in terms of the community side of things, making friends, like you said, because, I mean, I don't know, I had a lot of social anxiety beforehand, and then meeting a whole bunch of people, I'm quite an open book. I like to open up to people I trust, and so there's just a lot of people I can talk to. For example, Stu. I wouldn't have met Stu if I don't stream, stuff like that. And so just making connections like that has been awesome through Twitch. But the whole other side of things, like the ads and stuff like you mentioned, I'm such a person who I would like to go watch somebody, and if I get hit with a 30-second ad, doesn't matter where it is, I'm closing off the video. Like I don't want to watch it. And it sucks if that person could be awesome. That person could truly be a wonderful streamer, even if they have low viewers. They might have a really cool vibe that I like, but because of that ad, I may never figure it out. Sure, I may watch it sometimes just because I generally want to check out who that person is, but majority of the time, I'm going to close it off because I can't be bothered watching it. As for the whole sub aspect and stuff like that, I mean, I've talked with people about it as well, and like try to get multiple opinions on what it is, that what people prefer and what their view on subs and stuff like that is. And I mean, as bad as it is in that sense of them taking half of that money, I feel like if you were to, I don't know, you could probably answer this better, maybe, I don't know, maybe even you, Stu, but for the whole, for example, let's just say people just started donating to you just constantly instead of just doing subs, donating subs or whatever, gifting subs. So let's just say people just started donating lots of money, whatever, and every month you're dragging in, I don't know, let's just say $1,000 or something. I feel like somewhere along the line you're going to get hit with some tax around that, and I feel like, because I don't know, I don't understand it properly, but I feel like the reason why Twitch takes half of the money that they do is due to tax stuff. Because I've never been hit with anything. I don't think anybody else has been hit with anything. And you sign a bunch of tax forms, so I'm assuming that's why they take money, so you don't get taxed later on for it. I don't know. I don't know for sure. That was only my assumption. So it is bad in that sense that people will pay loads of money to support your channel, and there's some crazy supporters. Shout out Declan. But there's some crazy supporters out there who spend lots of money on your channel, and it's just like, it can be, I mean, I don't know. It's sometimes it's about that feeling. They don't care about how much money they're losing out of it. It's just about that feeling that they have to support you. It's just a matter of what support looks like to you, and I don't know. It's never really bothered me until we spoke about it more. Yeah, but overall, I mean, I like Twitch as a whole because I'm more of that community aspect type of person, and I like meeting people and stuff. Yeah.
I think we agree on the community side of it, and I think I agree with you in the way you said it depends on how support looks to you. And I guess for me, it's not a question of what the person paying feels, because like that's up to them. I think it's like an efficiency thing, and it's frustrating knowing that like Twitch is just taking that amount of a cut, I guess. And someone in the comments on this video, please let us know if you know more than us, in regard to tax and the threshold. I thought it was a threshold-based thing, regardless of how the money came in. If you cross a certain threshold, there was a taxed amount. And I don't know if a PayPal gift is even taxable because it's a gifted donation. So I don't know if it's even taxable there. And I don't know enough to say for sure, but it's just something to think about. And I'd love if someone knew more. But for me, it's more of just an efficiency or fairness or value. Like that's the dilemma. And it's only a small dilemma. It's not the end of the world. I don't go on about it too much. I think like what I'm trying to say here is that if you love Matt's stream or Stu's stream or Deck's stream or my stream or anyone in our little community we've got, and you want to support them in a bigger way than your monthly sub. So say you've got $20 that your grandma gave you for your birthday, and you're like, Matt's given me 20 hours of streaming this week where I've just got to forget about all my problems, or I've been able to play with Stu or play with Hud or whatever, and I want to give some love. Instead of maybe gifting that $20 out, maybe donate it so it's just a 1-for-1. That's all. It's not about the all of the time. It's just every now and again, think about the donation because you're giving that like 100% more or less conversion, if that makes sense, of the money. That was like my little message out of this, with Twitch being a little bit too greedy. But I guess really the more I think about it, my main issue is just those ads that we talked about, Matt, because how do we find people to help support and grow them when we're so deterred by the amount of ads? And I know it's all over Reddit, Twitter, every social media is complaining about 1, ads, and 2, Twitch's ads. So it's nothing new, but it's a really cool conversation we had, and little point that we got to discuss, because I think the more people talk about it, the more we can grow the discussion, and it starts to permeate into other areas, hopefully.
So I suppose just a backup question to that then. I mean, I won't get into the tax side of things because I think that with tax, or my understanding of it, it's going to be so different in each country that there would have to be a certain amount, unless they were to say, okay, so if you're a UK streamer, you get a certain amount. If you're a US streamer, you get a certain amount, which I don't think they'd ever do. For you guys then, who are obviously have got to a point where you're at a good level and you're constantly growing and everything like that, would you ever move away from Twitch? Is there other platforms that you'd ever look to rather than Twitch, or is it that no matter what platform you're on, you have these problems?
Yeah, I like when I started, me and my mate, who's like a big supporter, a big driver of what I do, we was like, are we sure Twitch is the right place to start on? We sort of reviewed it. I just think Twitch executes the whole idea at the best level. And like, I know Facebook gaming, like where do you even, like, you got to go into the Facebook GG area, like into this other thing. Like, nah, no one's doing that. No one I know is sitting on Facebook to watch gaming. And that's just it. I would get more viewers on Facebook because the Asian population, like the Asian region, the continents, all that make up the whole Asian area, they love Facebook gaming and they will just watch. But I don't want 6,000. I've seen guys worse than me at Warzone, worse at interaction than me even, and whoever else on Twitch, get massive numbers of just watchers, right? I don't stream to have 6,000 people who are more or less anonymous to me. I would rather have 10 of my good mates saying well done when I win than 6,000 people watching basically anonymously. Does that make sense? So like, that's one side of it. And I think you would run into the financial issues elsewhere. YouTube's probably better at it than Twitch, yada, 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 because it's a bigger platform. But eventually, once YouTube's happy with its amount of streamers, watch them probably change. They need to have market differentiation from Twitch. So they probably are a more efficient platform in, feeding the streamer a better value for their time. But eventually, like all businesses, once they creep up in the market share, they're probably then adjust their mechanisms for making money. So you have to be careful if you're looking to switch platforms. And we saw Mixer die too, and they had big signings, but no one left Twitch. Twitch is just easy. It's an app dedicated to it. You know what you're going to get. You just know what you're going to get. You know your friends. You got your sub badges. You got your other things. You've got all your stuff, and it's just like it's good at the moment, I think, with all things considered. What do you think, Matt?
It's hard for me to say. I mean, I've not looked into all of the other platforms for streaming. When I started, it was never like, oh, I could stream on YouTube or I could stream on Facebook. I think my aspect behind streaming and why I chose Twitch is just because that's what most people do, in my opinion. I don't even think Facebook gaming was that huge last year at the start of the year. I can't remember. But either way, when I started, it was just like, I just chose Twitch and I just stuck with it. I never really decided to think about what it would be like on other platforms. I mean, I've had a few people tell me or ask me, or it's just things just like saying, why don't you try streaming on YouTube, or why don't you try streaming on Facebook? And I think it's the same thing that Hud's talking about. Is I don't like to play under pressure, and having let's just for example, I had 6,000 people, regardless if they're all chatting or not. I would much rather be able to keep up with my chat and know who's in the stream and things like that. I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't want partner numbers, for example, because partner is something that I want to achieve. So I got to wrap my head around that. But I'm just saying, having that amount of viewers, you can't interact. It takes away from that interactive. You can't read 6,000 messages. You can't read 1,000 messages. You go into pro streamers' Twitch channels and you can't read a single thing because their chat's moving so fast. And I don't want my chat to be at that level where I can't read things, because I'm about that interaction. So.
Yeah, the last thing I'd say just on that is what you're getting at is that when you reach partner numbers, it's progressive. So even when you've got 80 viewers, 80 chatters, you've seen those guys grow when you had 10. So you're going to see a name in chat and be able to recognize it. The thing with those other platforms, if you just randomly pop off one night on Facebook or whatever, and you have, 450 viewers from, I don't know, wherever in the world that just love Facebook as a platform for viewing gaming, it's not a progressive growth where you got to see Skolo come in, see BlameHud come in. So even at partner level, you're going to see my name and go, there he is. What's up, man? Even if you've got a booming chat, because you've seen me come in enough, and that's how it works. Even me, I don't have as many chatters as you, Matt, but when someone comes in, I still pretty much remember them from 8 months ago. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. You saw me in multiplayer, and then you added me, and now here you are, in chat or whatever. And that's how it works. I think with those other platforms, it's a little bit more explosive and more anonymous. That's just my view from the research I've done. It's not always the case, but I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying. So.
Okay, so Hud, I want to move on to talking a little bit more about life and things outside of streaming. So I know you slightly, and I know that you've got a couple of degrees. I know that you do some really interesting things around mountain biking and things like that. So wherever you want to lead me, talk to me a little bit of life outside of streaming. What do you get up to?
Yeah, so much like yourself, streamer manager, I've got quite a few people under me. Luckily, it's not high intense work, so it's not I've got 60 accountants under me, but 60 operational workers plus, and that's pretty full on. So I know we've chatted occasionally, Stu, about it, that one of my challenges is when I come home from a huge day at work that I need to make a decision: do I stream? Because if I'm flat and exhausted, and it's not that streaming makes me feel that way, but if I'm down or just a bit overcooked from the day of just interacting with people, dealing with emotions and chaos and stuff at work, I won't be my best self on stream. So that's something I have to deal with. But yeah, pretty much work full time, manage. That takes a lot out of me, because I'd say I'm pretty introverted again. So when I have to turn up for work from that emotional perspective of being a little bit more extroverted during the day, and have those tough chats. Some of the good chats too are tiring. You're just talking a lot all day. So that wears me down. But usually start the day with the gym, pretty consistent and pretty in love with the gym, even though I'm not super swole. I definitely just get a lot out of it mentally. That pretty much cleans the slate, I like to say, for the day. If I get my little gym workout in the morning, my anxiety for the day dips. And it's not that I'm nervous for work or the day, it's that I'm really when you tap your feet a lot, that type of anxiety, I get really I'm hyperactive, so I get really fidgety if I don't hit the gym. The gym levels me out, and I feel yeah, we're chilling, and I just then I can have my day at work and feel really good. And then if I'm not streaming at night, it's usually I've got a sport game on, touch footy or basketball. And then you reference mountain biking, and I used to do that. That was my first major hobby outside of. So when I finished school and going to university, I was had not an identity crisis, but an identity survey, and I was who am I now that I'm not wearing a school uniform, which dictated who I was, if that makes sense. And I dabbled in a few things, and I was doing the regular 18-year-old stuff, playing a bit of video games, sort of drinking a little bit, chasing girls, all that sort of stuff. And then mountain biking was the first thing where I was I'm going to find the money to save up for this bike. Because I used to mountain bike a little bit as a kid, but that's it's kid stuff, so you're not really doing it, you're just sort of doing it. and I was like, I'm gonna save up for a mountain bike. I'm gonna get back into this hobby, and man, it just took my life by storm. I just got obsessed with it. I started racing them. I started riding road bikes too, even in Lycra and stuff. And so, yeah, now my mountain biking. It's funny actually with this whole podcast because Twitch derailed my mountain biking for literally 8 months, where I was so into my stream and gaming that like I was like, I'm not gonna ride because of that time. I can gym for 50 minutes and get home to like work on Twitch stuff, rather than go for like a 2-hour mountain bike and drive out to the trails and do all the crap that takes just to get the same workout. So I was just like prioritizing gym and other exercise, so I had more time for like tinkering with my stream or gaming and just to get better. And it was I had just got the PC too, so like PC life, as you guys know, is very addictive. You can like be on Discord, Facebook, Twitch, watching the NBA on one monitor while you're like on Twitch on the other monitor, like all this stuff. So that was just all consuming. But just as of this year, I'm back on the bike, and I won't race again because it's like just super dangerous. But it's a huge outlet, and it's like just awesome exercise. So hopefully that surmises what I do. But yeah, a lot of work, a lot of like recreation that is exercise based, just for the mental aspects more than anything. It's not like I'm looking in the mirror every day trying to like have a certain like physique. Like obviously that's important too, but I'm mentally like I need that discharge from exercise, just with like how hyperactive I can get or whatever. So yeah, and then gaming, man, big part. That's my social. See, I don't really like go out and drink and party too much. Like I do catch up with my friends, but I'm not like a huge socializer. So my mates are the same, and we just love hanging out online, dude. We just love being together, but being apart, if that makes sense. So that's sort of a bit of a summary for you, Stu.
Yeah, perfect. If I can go back to your job just slightly, I suppose it's a bit of a vice versa question, but what have you took from streaming into your work or vice versa? Is there any sort of things that you've learned from work that you've then brought into the stream in terms of interaction or whatever?
Brilliant question. I think the big thing is whatever happens in my stream doesn't really affect me too much because work's chaotic. And I know you'll be able to, both of you will be able to sympathize with that, because like when you've got like a job, and I mean that like above like a part-time job or a pretty like very low-key job, streaming's just a sort of fun pastime, and you're sort of pretty grateful you even get to do it because work's chaotic. Then on the flip side, streaming's had to make me a bit more tolerant, and I can use that at work. So like that's something that's one of my big goals this year, is to become more tolerant and like just more like understanding. And so streaming works on that, because you can, but you shouldn't like block people in your stream just because you don't like them or whatever. So you've got to like learn to like breathe and accept someone being part of your community. Just bury the differences and just get along because they're a good supporter and you guys are mates because of the gameplay or the interaction or the community, whatever it is. And so streaming's really pushed my tolerance levels as someone who's like very like observant and critical. I've needed to be a little bit more patient, and then I'm working on that. And then at work, I find myself going, no, just chill. Like just another person coming into the office is like them coming into the stream, I've like turned my office into another chat room per se. And that's a pretty cool thing that I've tried to work on and thought about. And I think there's value in that for other people who have jobs like ours, or any job where you can like go, well, I'm working on skills at work that I can translate to the stream, being more open, tolerant, communicative, and all those sort of things. So,
and that question's quite good. That one's true, because you got people like HUD, or people like myself, for example, where I work with children, so I'm a teacher aide, obviously, and then kids see me at work one way and so strict and so following rules, being the teacher that a teacher is supposed to be. You're not there to have fun with the children, you're there to help them learn. And then I've had kids from the school that I work at come through the stream and be like, wow, this guy's so different. This guy's so cool. Man, you're so cool. Why can't you be like this at school? And it's just like, well, I can't be like that at school. And then like, it's so 50-50, because like there's one kid in specific, he'll come by, and then like I'm so chilled, that's how I am when I'm streaming. But when I'm at work, I have to be all professional and stuff. And it's just like, I'll tell this kid, I'll be like, don't do that. Like you can't do this, you can't do that. Like I'm not here to be your buddy. Like I'm here to be your like a teacher. Like and it's just you get tossed between the two, and it's just like a lot of the time you hear a lot of the boys in chat like, man, I wish Matt was my teacher in school, like stuff like that. But it's just a funny question because of that aspect. But yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how you keep up with everything. You've mentioned about 3 million things that you enjoy and that you like to do. How do you find the time, and how do you sort of How do you plan your days and your schedule, sort of thing?
I think there was a time when I was working and it was pretty challenging in my first 8 months at this like my first like big career job after university, where I realized the only way to manage the stress and the anxiety at work was to have other things that I could look forward to outside of work, but just having one wasn't enough. So I was coming home from these hectic days and just really looking forward to gaming with my boys. But that wasn't like making me happy in the morning when I had that far to wait. So it was like, well, I need to do something in the morning. So then we're going to hit the gym. So I started filling these spots. And then like I refined that process over the next year to be like, I just love switching gears to different, like I just love being like having a full plate basically. I basically just love like having like an array of different interests and hobbies that all intersect and interact. And then they're different. Like streaming isn't exercise at all. But it's fun, you know, to like have different things and just bounce them off each other. Because like I stream better when I've exercised, if that makes sense. And I'm fresh and bouncy. So for me, it was a start of like, how do I feel better? And then it was learning that I'm that person that isn't like a one-trick pony. Like I'm very much a jack of all trades, but I'm a master of none. Like I'll never be the smartest guy. I'll never be the best gamer. I'll never be the best streamer. But I love being able to do something and then have a conversation about something else. And they go, I didn't know you knew anything about, I don't know, like hardcore metal. Like you just only play rap music or like electronic on stream. Like, no, I listen to hardcore in the gym. They're like, what? So like, I love like having that just versatility and like, but it's a weakness too. Like it honestly is a weakness because I've never ever like fully like, what's the word? Succeeded beyond the like the norm at something because I just love getting into something new. You know, I just like to jump ship and try something new and I get into that and try and get good at it and then move again. So I've definitely like, I've got my concrete things I like now. Like I play 2 social sports and I mountain bike. I go to the gym. Like I've got my concrete things I do, but definitely speaking more broadly, it's, it became like a process that I just mastered over the last few years with a career that's pretty demanding where it was like, the more stuff I'm into, the more I can cope with the stress and the struggles.
I wanted to ask about your relationships outside of streaming and how streaming's had an impact on them. In particular, you know, the luckiest person on the planet at the moment, which is your girlfriend. What's her sort of outlook on streaming? How does she cope with not being able to have those 3 hours of HUD time every night?
Yeah, good question. I think at the start it was a bit weird. It was a bit like, you know, because like I'm a professional. So to like play video games and like to prioritize them over some other things is kind of like, you're a grown man. Like, what are you doing playing games on Twitch? And so it was a bit weird. But I think some feedback came back out of my friends being like to my girlfriend being like, he's actually good at like the game, or he's actually like pretty interesting as a streamer. And I'm not saying that like I said that and like whatever. And they weren't the exact words, but it was that sort of thing where like the product was there. And the feedback came even not through me, like it was like other people outside. She'd bump into people and be like, oh, the stream's pretty cool. And she'd be like, oh, is it, or whatever. But she's also just a supportive person. So there was never any real doubt. It was just like that weirdness at the start of being like, you're really broadcasting your gameplay to people? like, you know, that like whole, like, I don't, like, she doesn't game or have any interest whatsoever in any of it. So like, she doesn't know or care about any of the like minor details, but the whole concept was a bit absurd. But now it's become the opposite now because she's a professional too. Like if anything, she's more professional than me. Like, you know, she's like a corporate lawyer and stuff like, so she is more driven in regard to like, you know, you get to streaming, buddy, you know, type shit. Like, you know, when I want to like just chill, which is cool because like you need that, especially I do when I'm like pretty easygoing about it all, in some respects. But yeah, just that was the funny, like the hiccups at the start. And then the other relationships, some of them have probably not suffered, but like I definitely have to prioritize streaming over like other type of social engagements because like they're on the wrong time of the week. Like my dad likes to catch up during the week and I'm like, man, just for like a couple of months I need to like focus in on this like schedule that I have. And that was a bit, again, awkward to say like I'm streaming and I can't come over for dinner because I'm streaming. And it was just like, not the outcomes because like numbers don't really mean anything to them, but once they sort of hear about the product or you explain that like, you know, like little things like once I tell my old man about coming on this podcast, it helps reaffirm the passion and the interest. And it's not like he bashes me for gaming, but he's just like taken aback that I'm not coming over for a couple of weeks because the nights he wants to hang out are nights that I'm actually going to be broadcasting. So there's like some interesting things. So, but it's just communication. It's just about communicating like why you're doing it. What are some of the outcomes you're getting? What are you hoping to achieve? But also then being realistic, being like, look, I'm not ever going to like really quote unquote make it. But what I do is really fulfilling to me with my community and the people in there and like, you know, the Discord and other stuff like that. Like that all fulfills me from a day-to-day basis. So if they can understand that, then you just have to work hard to like make time in other times of the week or your life, or get value out of other things as a relationship, not just like your intimate relationships, but also your like family and friends.
If you look back on your time on the planet, should we say, is there anything that you'd tell your younger self in terms of how to do things or how to go forward that you've learned in your later years?
It's my favorite question that you asked, Matt, and I'm glad you asked me because it really hit home with like that whole mindset of like some people don't have an older sibling and like, or some people don't have like forceful parents, and everyone like reacts differently. But I think if I could have been my older sibling when I was younger, I would just simply reaffirm the cliche "don't quit." I think there was a couple, and this actually relates to the other question about like, oh, you know, you've got a lot of interests. I think because of that, I've quit a lot of things because I found a new interest, and it wasn't that I quit, or sorry, I shouldn't say quit, but like moved on from a hobby or something that I was probably going to get pretty good at if I stuck around with it because I had a new thing I was interested in. And you know, like you could put that down to anything. Like, you know, I was pretty good at riding bikes, but all of a sudden my career was my new focus. So I like stopped riding bikes and just started working and going to the gym because it was a more efficient way to exercise and save me time and energy and stuff. When really, like, if I had kept racing mountain bikes, I'd be doing pretty well, but just my personality keeps transitioning. But I just wish when I was younger, especially in high school, I had have like just stuck to my guns a little bit with some of the sports I played, because I don't think I realized that like I was probably pretty good at them, and like I wouldn't have never made the national teams or anything, but I could have definitely had a fair crack at some cool outcomes, and then you can move on. But I should have just seen maybe more what I could eke out of a few of these like interests I had as a youngster. So I'd definitely be telling myself not to quit so quickly, or not to move on or whatever.
So when we were setting up the podcast, I had a few chats with some of the people that are in your stream, and the things that they always mention was that everything you do is 100%. Where do you find the energy to be like that? Because obviously that comes across to them.
Yeah, it's something I've learned. I definitely didn't always be like as like full on as I am now, but I think like it's a combination of like passion and then process. So like I've got the passion for stuff and to succeed, and to like I have visions of like what I want to be like or whatever as a person. So there's the passion part, but then the process is like a refined thing. Like even 3 years ago, I wasn't as effective at executing on a plan as I am now. You know, I'd have small goals or even big goals that were like more long term. Now I've really refined that cycle down to like achievable goal, nail it, feel good, next goal, nail it, feel good, next goal, and make them like achievable, measurable, all the simple goal setting steps. And I took that psychological thing into just like a life approach now. So it's even like my goal today is to get up and record this with you guys, and we get it done and we feel good, and we've got our next goal ready for like 1 p.m. today. We go and get that. And I think that perpetuates into energy. Like the energy to do things at 100% is because it feels good to go hard and like kick off those little like to-do lists and goals. And yeah, to-do lists, that's an awesome one, man. That gives me energy. When I write a list of like the little things I got to do, it's like, well, just go get that done. You're going to feel real good about yourself at the end of the day. Then you just make a bigger to-do list for the week and make a bigger one for the 6 months and a bigger one for the year. Like my to-do list for the year is enormous, and my to-do list for today is not as big, but it's like got a lot of detail for just today. But when I do it, I'll feel really good come 6 p.m. and the lawn's been mowed, the gym's been hit, the groceries are in the fridge. Those little things give me the energy to go 100%, and then that fuels the stream tomorrow night because I'm energized, ready to go. And a little bit convoluted there, but it still comes back to the cycle. So you've got the passion and you've got your process, and those two things, just for me personally, tend to intersect well and like drive me forward. And everyone's different, so I'm lucky that I've got that analytical mindset of just like setting goals and like looking at a bigger thing and breaking it down. But I'm also lucky that I'm like pretty passionate.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to Discord now, Hud. So one of the things that I've noticed about you is that obviously with the time constraints that you've got, that sometimes you don't stream regularly. So how have you built that sort of community sense that those people still want to come back? How do you nurture that?
I think part of like having a Discord is the first step. So we like most people that stream, they create a Discord because it's sort of like the common thing to do. But there's enough topics there that are relevant to each of the people that are like have become a regular. So yeah, without being able to stream so regularly and consistently and for so long, it's hard to like loop people back in. And then as we said earlier, like playing the same game means that a lot of people aren't interested in returning. Like they might keep following me because of the hope that maybe I play something different. But for the guys that come back, they know what they're going to get from product quality, like we talked about, like the gameplay and the stream quality, which I think they enjoy at some extent. And then with the Discord, it keeps like people talking to each other, and it keeps like topics on the tip of their tongue. So there might be someone who like keeps their eye on the beer channel. Look, we have like a beer channel. And like when they come in, if there's someone in there that they've seen post a beer, then they can like have that interaction. It just basically like, it's a big group message. It's a big group chat with homies. That's what it's become. But I think there's actually a lot of more, a few finer details to it, to like the guys coming back. Like we've done like fantasy sports, like as a stream. So like we've got like an NBA fantasy league where like with some stream people in there where they can like have that to chat about in Discord, in stream, or in other areas. So like the guys feel connected because even though they've never met, they're like talking, they've got this NBA thing to connect with. We've done it for NFL. And then the big thing you would have noticed, Stu, in the last couple of weeks, like visiting my stream a little bit more, like a lot of like jokes happen. Like you'll see some stuff that happened, and like I'm not the most entertaining person, but as a team, as a community watching my stream, we pick things out and they get pretty big. So like you've probably seen, we do that guided meditation, and like every now and again, the boys don't know when it's going to happen because we don't make it too regular. We'll just do a guided meditation where we put the meditation music on and like we just read some like hippie meditation script and just like have a laugh. And usually it finishes with some sort of joke. And I think those moments are, yeah, the guys would love it if that was every stream, but that's not my strategy to have like those cool things happen every stream, because like then it just becomes an entertaining stream, like an entertainment stream, and I'm not funny enough, nor do I have enough energy, on like a freaking Friday night to like be the funniest person in the world when I'm absolutely zonked, because by then I've had 2 sport games, a full week of work, 5 gym sessions, etc., etc. So I'm really flat. Usually on my Friday streams is more of just a playing with people vibe. But I think those little personal jokes hook people in when they're like, I've been in the stream all week and I've seen 3 of the funniest things I've seen all week are in the stream. Whether it's some guy calling me a XYZ after I kill him, and then that becomes like the funniest thing for the week and everyone's calling each other out in stream, or we do a guided meditation led by Stu or Griff with these amazing voices, and the dudes are just like, this is like so fun and funny, because like I'm trying to create that feeling of like going to the pub with your mates, but I'm playing Warzone. So you're at the pub with your mates and my chat room's just a big table and you're all just drinking different schooners, everyone's just talking crap, and but instead of on the big screen, it's the EPL game, it's my stream. And that's sort of like the culture I think we've really created by having, I think really just my friends, man. Just because my friends are like me and they're just like multifaceted guys, because they're in the stream driving the culture, people come, and if they don't like what we like, they will leave, and that's fine because that's just life. But when someone likes what we talk about and what we joke about and the way we like talk about stuff, the way we talk about sport or whatever we talk about, they go, this is the place for me, this is a home. And then like, it doesn't matter if they're following 30 other people. When I go live, they're like, that's like a family, or that's my boys getting beers, it's HUD stream. Let's get in there. And, for someone like you, Stu, you might tease me for being crap, which is fine. Or someone might like actually genuinely like me, or they like the other guys in chat more. And then it's just a vibe, and they just want that. They can't get that anywhere else, that versatility, let's say. Or that like culture with the homies. Just our kind of homies though. So everyone's got different vibes, obviously. But I think that, and then, as you said, the Discord is the anchor when I'm off stream. That's the place to like, to come and post a link or a meme or whatever it is. And I'm active in there too, which is a big part. I think a lot of streamers, like, they're not super active in their Discords, but I actually genuinely enjoy talking about the stuff that's in there, because it's my Discord. So it's got like things I love, PCs, even though like I'm not super technologically advanced. I love talking gaming mouse pads because of FPS. You actually need good peripherals to succeed, or at least to optimize your performance. I'm there talking about nerd stuff like that. I'm there talking about the NBA. We've got the NRL. We've got like beers. We've got whatever dudes are into. Like, because I like it. When I'm at work, it's easy for me to quickly post in Discord when I can't stream or can't do other types of interaction. So, yeah, man, I think that's pretty much sums that up. It's like there's just a constant connection through personal jokes, common interests, and then the stream just being the hub of activity, I suppose. And I love it.
So, probably a question to both of you then, because you've both got Discords and you both use them in a different way. How do you cultivate that in terms of putting that time in? Because obviously you've both got the time constraints there as well. How do you sort of cultivate it? Like, where did it begin, and where did, you know, what was your aim for that, and is it still ongoing in the same way?
Right, so how to cultivate it? I think trial and error a little bit. Like at the start, we just had the Discord, and like I think just seeing other streamers' Discords having channels, I was like, well, we've got to have channels, you know. Like I didn't really know, so made a few channels, and then we just refined it down and cut out like the ones that weren't getting a lot of traction. And yeah, I think it's sort of organic, really. I think you can't really force it, you know. Like if the people in your community aren't gonna be interactive in the Discord, then they're not going to be interactive in the Discord. See, and I'm it's nothing for me to, like I said, to post something in Discord. It takes 10 seconds to share the thing I've read on Reddit and put it into Discord for guys to review and share their opinion. And I'm just been lucky, I guess, too, man. Like some of it's luck. Like I've got like just awesome people that watch my stream that are like super active in Discord. You know, like for not for me, but for themselves and for their friends that they've made in the stream. I think that sums it up for me. I wonder what you've got to say, Matt.
Well, I think the main difference between you and I, and I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong way, but I think the way that I'm doing it is the same way that pretty much every other person does it, and it's the same, and then it's that sense of just making it public. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have yours to where you only invite the people who you want to vibe with, type of thing, into your Discord, which is in that sense that I think relates to the whole thing that we're talking about of how you get those same people to come from your Discord into your chat is because you only invite the people you vibe with, and that makes them, I guess, feel special in that aspect as well. And it's just a group of your homies. I mean, those people will see that you're live and then they'll come. But if you have your Discord open to so many random people that come off you playing Black Ops 3 Zombies 6 months ago, and now you're playing My Little Pony, they're not gonna come. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they're not 100%. There for that thing, so they're not gonna worry. They don't care. They come to join your Discord at one time. They're not there to. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some people that come to your Discord and they will be there and they will be active and they're always there. But then there's most people. I think I'm saying most people will come in off a game you're playing to join in the Discord for whatever reason. But then I don't know. It's just I feel like if I'm someone who's joining constant Discords, I mute them because there's so many. I don't like notifications. I'm OCD. I hate notifications. I have to clear that. So I'm not going to be, I don't know. I just, from my perspective, I think if you want to build more of a community-based Discord and an interactive one, you go about it HUD's role. But if you want people and you just want numbers and you want, hope that people are going to see that, then it's not that, like I'm saying, there's no right or wrong way. It's just two different ways of doing it. So
I forgot to even mention that, Matt. I forgot to even mention that. Yeah, we do invite only. Sorry, so I did. That's a big oversight for me. I forgot to even. I guess the question didn't say like how did you set it up like that, because we definitely do have that. So we do have like that.
Don't blame the question.
No, I was just answering like how you cultivate it through the way that people interact through the channels. But we definitely do have an invite only. And that wasn't something we did on purpose initially, because we had subscriber benefits. We had like a discount code for some products, and so it had to be invite only because we didn't want anyone using the sub discount, like a sub only thing, so we could like have it be more private in that respect with the discounts. And then it actually started being beneficial in that respect, where a lot of people like they've not even followed you yet, and they do !Discord, and you're like, what? Like, no, of course not. But there's no right or wrong, and like I obviously take a hit because if I've only got 30 people in my Discord and I go live, there's like that's an X amount of people that aren't going to see that I'm live. So there's definitely, if you're trying to grow, there's different strategies, and I don't necessarily recommend mine at all. It would just happen to fall out that way, and yeah, and it works out because like, yeah, the Discord's not just like a vessel for my stream. My Discord's actually like where I want to post stuff I like, and I want other people to post stuff they like. So it's actually like nearly more of a friendship Discord. Again, with my stream being the sort of like nucleus or whatever.
Okay, Hud, so this is your section then, the shout out section. Talk about anything you want, shout out anybody you want. What's going on?
Yeah, just like to shout out my community members, because they're obviously like the driving force and the whole reason that I still enjoy streaming after 9 long months. They all know who they are because they've usually got some sort of badge from moderator to VIP, or even if they don't, they know who they are because they're there pretty regularly. So all the guys active in my Discord as well. I want to thank you two a lot for inviting me on and being patient and awesome, both in your own respects. And definitely want to shout out Jason again. He's a VIP in my stream. He should be a mod, but we've never been bothered. So Jace Diddy Dog, if you see him, just know that he's a really important friend of mine. Pretty much the driving force behind me starting and me continuing. I call him the CEO of the stream because he keeps me like locked in to what we're doing with it, because I think he sees more of the value sometimes than I do when I'm a little bit fatigued or whatever. So definitely want a big shout out for Jace, who's the GOAT. And yeah, that's about it. You can get me on Twitter, BlameHud. I follow everyone back. Twitch, if you're a streamer, come in. Let me know you're a streamer in due time, and you'll get a follow back, and we'll always raid you and support you if you do the same to us. That's how we work. We reciprocate all things in my world. If it's not reciprocated, you'll be known to not reciprocate. It's a big part of it. So anyone trying to grow, this is a good chance for you to learn that, like, yeah, if you reciprocate to people, they really, streamers aren't stupid, you know what I mean? Like, people see your actions and they notice when you're supporting them. So it will serve you well. So yeah, follow me and I'll follow you back, and we'll grow together and we'll help each other out for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for coming on and giving up your time on Valentine's Day. I'm sure that'll go down well with the girlfriend. But yeah, no, I really wanted you to thank you and coming on and giving up a couple of hours of your time to sit with us and chat to us. And I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot of things, and hopefully we can help people grow.
For sure, man. You guys are the best.
And again, like, there's always things that I can take from this conversation. I'm sure there's been other people that will watch this or listen to this and be able to take away from things that you've mentioned. So again, thank you for your time as well, Hud, bro.
Thanks, boys.
So just to sort of wrap things up, thanks everyone for listening. If you're on YouTube, please drop us a follow, drop a comment down, let us know anything that you've heard from Hud that you want to talk more about. Drop us a subscribe. If you're over on Spotify, make sure you drop us a follow as well. We've got a few more podcasts coming in the very near future, and hopefully we can just grow on this platform. So from me and from Matt and from Hud, thanks again. Thanks for being here.